Have you ever felt so tired from work, school, or daily life that you just wanted to run away for a while? You sit at your desk, looking out the window, and imagine yourself walking on a beach. You can hear the waves. You can feel the warm wind. You close your eyes, and just for a moment, you're not in the office or at home. You're far away, free, and happy. That was me. I felt stressed and tired. Every day was the same. So I decided, I need a break. A real one. A holiday. And not just any holiday. I wanted to travel somewhere new. Somewhere beautiful. And I wanted to challenge myself. I would use English the whole time. I would practice English in real life, with real people, in real situations. This is my story. Part 1: Choosing the destination. When you start planning a holiday, the first question is, where should I go? I opened my laptop and looked at pictures of different places. I saw mountains with green trees, cities with tall buildings, and islands with white sand. I thought, do I want peace and quiet? Or do I want excitement and adventure? Then I saw a photo of the ocean in southern Thailand. The water was blue like the sky. There were small boats floating. People were smiling. And the sun was shining so bright. I thought, that's it. That's where I want to go. I looked at a map and found a place called Phuket. It looked perfect. So I said to myself, out loud, in English, I want to go on a holiday to the beach this year. Speaking that one sentence made me feel excited. I wrote it in my journal. It became the first step of my journey. Part 2: Making the plan. Planning is the key to a good trip. So, I sat down with a notebook and made a list. Choose a destination. Find a hotel. Buy flight tickets. Check passport and visa. Make a packing list. Check the weather. Learn useful English phrases. I used simple English in my notes. I didn't worry about grammar. I just wrote what I needed to do. Example: book hotel near beach. Flight, Bangkok to Phuket. Clothes, t-shirts, shorts, hat. I even practiced saying things out loud. I need to book a hotel. Where is my passport? I should check the weather forecast. This part helped me think in English. And it made my trip feel more real. Part 3: Packing my bag. Packing is one of my favorite parts. It makes me feel excited, like the trip is really happening. I took out my suitcase and opened my wardrobe. I asked myself in English, what will I wear at the beach? Will I need a jacket for the night? Do I have sunscreen? I packed 4 t-shirts, 2 shorts, 1 pair of flip-flops, sunglasses, a small towel, my English phrasebook, notebook and pen. And of course, I packed my passport, phone charger, earphones, and some medicine. I looked at everything and thought, I'm ready. Part 4: At the airport. The airport was busy. People were moving in every direction. Big screens showed flight numbers. I looked for my flight, Bangkok to Phuket. I walked to the check-in counter. I took a deep breath and said, "Good morning. I have a flight to Phuket." The staff smiled and said, "Passport, please." I gave my passport and smiled back. Then I asked, "Where is gate 18? The staff pointed, and I followed the signs. Everything was written in English too. Departure. Boarding gate. Passport control. Security check. Even though I was nervous, I felt proud. I was using English. I was doing it. At the gate, I heard the announcement, Flight PG 271 to Phuket is now boarding. And just like that, it was time to fly. Part 5, Arriving at the hotel. When I arrived in Phuket, the air felt warm and fresh. The sky was clear. I took a taxi to the hotel. At the front desk, I said, "Hello. I have a booking. My name is Anna." The receptionist smiled and said, "Welcome. One moment please." Then she gave me the key card and said, "Room 204. Breakfast is from 7 to 10 a.m. I said, "Thank you." When I opened the door to my room, I saw the sea through the window. The beach was just across the road. I sat on the bed and whispered, "This is really happening." Part 6, Enjoying the first day. I changed into my beach clothes and walked to the water. The sand was soft. The waves were gentle. I took a deep breath and felt all my stress disappear. I saw a small food shop and said, "One coconut, please." The seller handed it to me with a straw. I said, "Thank you. It looks delicious." Later, I sat under a palm tree, watching children play. I wrote in my notebook, "Today is my first day. I used English to buy a coconut. I feel happy." Part 7, Exploring the local market. The next morning, I wanted to see more of Phuket. I heard about a local market near the hotel. So after breakfast, I put on my hat and sunglasses, and walked to the market. The market was full of colors, sounds, and smells. There were fruits, spices, clothes, and souvenirs. I saw a stall with fresh mangoes. I said to the seller, "Excuse me, how much is one mango?" She smiled and replied, 30 baht. Very sweet. I nodded, smiled, and said, "Okay, I'll take one." As I walked around, I heard people speaking Thai, Chinese, English, and many other languages. I stopped at another stall and bought a small handmade bracelet. I said, "It's beautiful. Thank you." At a food stall, I pointed at a dish and asked, "What is this?" The man said, "Pad Thai. Noodles with shrimp. Very tasty." "One, please," I said, and found a seat. The food was delicious, and I was proud. I had used English, asked questions, and learned new things. That afternoon, I wrote in my notebook again. I went to the local market. I bought fruit, food, and a bracelet. I spoke English all the time. I feel more confident now. Part 8, Talking with other travelers. Later that evening, I decided to relax in the common area of the hotel. There was a small cafe next to the lobby with soft music, warm lights, and a few travelers sitting and chatting. I felt a little nervous, but I reminded myself, this is a great chance to practice speaking English with other people from different countries. I ordered a cup of tea and sat at a table nearby. Next to me was a young woman with a backpack and a big map open in front of her. I smiled and said, "Hi. Are you also traveling alone?" She looked up, smiled back, and said, "Yes, I am. I just arrived from Germany." We started talking. Her name was Lisa. She was visiting Thailand for the first time, just like me. I told her about the market I went to earlier. She shared that she wanted to see the big Buddha and go on a boat tour. Soon, another traveler joined us. His name was Daniel, from Australia. He said, "It's my second time in Thailand. I love the food here. We laughed, shared our favorite dishes, and talked about travel plans. I used simple English, and they did too. We asked each other, "Where have you been so far? Do you like spicy food? How long are you staying here?" Even though we were all from different places, English helped us connect. That night, I didn't just practice speaking English, I made new friends. We agreed to meet the next morning for a boat trip. Before bed, I wrote in my notebook, "Today, I spoke with 2 travelers." I listened, I asked questions, and I shared my story. English helped me feel connected. I'm not alone on this journey. Part 9, Taking a Tour. The next morning, I woke up early. I was excited, today was our boat trip. Lisa and Daniel, the travelers I met last night, were already waiting at the hotel entrance. We had planned to take a local tour together around the nearby islands. We walked together to the meeting point near the beach, where a small tour company had set up a table. The guide smiled and asked, "Are you here for the island tour?" I nodded and said, "Yes." We booked the half-day trip. The guide gave us wristbands and explained the plan. In simple English, he said, "We will visit 3 islands. You can swim, take photos, and enjoy lunch on the boat. Please wear your life jacket at all times. The boat leaves in 15 minutes." Even though I didn't understand every word, I understood the meaning. Simple, clear English helped me feel comfortable. As we walked to the boat, I looked at the sea. It was calm, blue, and sparkling in the sunlight. I whispered to myself, "This is going to be a special day." The boat ride was amazing. The wind blew gently on my face, and the sound of the waves made me feel peaceful. We passed green islands, tall cliffs, and white beaches. At the first island, the guide said, "You can swim here for 40 minutes." I smiled and asked Lisa, "Do you want to go in the water?" She laughed and said, "Of course. Let's go." We swam, floated, and laughed in the sea. I felt free, happy, and alive. In that moment, I forgot all my stress and just enjoyed the beauty around me. Back on the boat, we ate lunch together. It was simple Thai food, fried rice, vegetables, and sweet pineapple. Daniel looked at the food and said, "This is better than any restaurant." We all laughed. I added, "And the view is 5 stars." While eating, I practiced asking simple questions. What places do you want to visit next? Have you tried mango sticky rice? Do you like Thai food? Each answer gave me a chance to learn more English words. But more than that, it gave me confidence. At the second island, we didn't swim, we explored a cave. It was cool and dark inside. The guide used a flashlight and pointed at the rock walls. He said, "These stones are thousands of years old. Very special." I repeated his sentence quietly to myself. Thousands of years old. Very special. I liked the way it sounded. After that, we visited a final beach where we took many photos. I asked a tourist, "Can you take a photo for us, please?" She smiled and said, "Sure." Another small moment. Another real use of English. As the boat returned in the late afternoon, the sun was soft and golden. The sky turned orange and pink. I sat quietly, feeling thankful. I didn't only visit islands, I traveled with new friends. I spoke English without fear. I learned new words in real places, not just from books. When we got back to the hotel, we said goodbye to the tour guide and thanked him. I said, "Thank you so much. It was a beautiful day. He smiled and replied, "Thank you. I'm happy you enjoyed." That night, before bed, I opened my notebook again. I wrote, "Today was more than a boat trip." I used English with a tour guide, asked questions, and made memories with new friends. I learned by doing. I spoke slowly, but I spoke bravely. That is enough. And I smiled. Because this journey was changing me, one English sentence at a time. Part 10, Going Back Home and What I Learned. The last day of my trip came quietly. I woke up early and looked out the hotel window one last time. The sea was still calm. The sky was soft and gray. I didn't want to leave, but I knew it was time to go home. I took a deep breath and whispered, "Thank you, Phuket. You gave me more than just a holiday." At the hotel lobby, I checked out. The receptionist smiled and said, "Did you enjoy your stay?" I answered, "Yes, very much. It was perfect. Thank you." That simple exchange made me realize something important. I wasn't afraid to speak English anymore. I wasn't perfect, but I could communicate. And that was enough. I took a taxi to the airport. Along the way, I looked at the trees, the people, the motorbikes. Everything looked the same, but I felt different. At the airport, I went through check-in and security like a traveler who had done it 1,000 times. I used English to ask simple questions. "Where is gate 12? Is this the line for boarding? Can I have a window seat, please?" Every time I spoke, I felt more confident. I had practiced English, not in a classroom, but in the real world. On the plane, I sat by the window and watched the clouds. I thought about everything I had done. I planned a trip in English. I booked a hotel and talked to staff. I bought food at a market. I made friends with people from other countries. I joined a tour, asked questions, and listened to stories. And most of all, I learned by living. When the plane landed, I returned home with more than souvenirs. I came back with memories, confidence, and a notebook full of real-life English. That night, I opened my notebook one last time. I wrote, "Before this trip, I was shy. I was afraid to speak English. But now, I know, English is not just a school subject. It's a key. A key that opens doors to new people, new places, and new parts of myself." Final thoughts: you don't have to be perfect to speak English. You just have to start. One word at a time. One sentence at a time. One real moment at a time. Plan your own trip. Make mistakes. Smile. Ask questions. Listen. Learn. Because learning English is not just about grammar, it's about connection. And your next great adventure might be waiting just one English word away. The end of this story is just the beginning of yours. The story is over. Please support us by subscribing and liking to follow our channel. Your support means a lot to us. I hope you learned something new today. See you next time. Thanks for watching.